Welcome to the third recorded lecture. This would typically be week 3 of Caring for the Caregiver. I'm Felicia Greenfield, coming to you from the Penn Memory Center. Last week we talked about thoughts and how we often have thoughts that we're unaware of, and these thoughts are oftentimes not helpful to us. So we learned how to recognize them and how to replace them with more helpful thoughts that tend to help us to feel better and to behave differently. I asked you to do a 6-column thought record, and if we were in person or in the live class, we would spend time, about an hour of time, sharing our 6-column thought records and talking about the challenges and the benefits of keeping track of our thoughts. Since we don't have that time to share, I would invite you to attend an office hours session where you can share those thought records with others. And today's recording will be a lot shorter than yesterday's recording or the last recording, given the fact that we are not in person today. In week 3, the topic of the class is communication skills, and we're going to go over some techniques that will help you communicate with the person for whom you're caring and how to express yourself more effectively. Effective communication really is the building block for all of your other caregiving skills. If done well, it can decrease arguments, reduce difficult behaviors, and increase feelings of connection. Unfortunately, communicating with someone with memory loss can be challenging. Cognitive impairment affects the person's ability to understand what you're saying. It limits their ability to express what he or she wants to say, and it limits their ability to remember their own thoughts from one moment to the next. Memory loss can prevent your relative from finding the right words or finding any words at all. This is a cartoon from the New Yorker. In your binder materials, you can see the whole cartoon. Here on the slide, part of it got cut off, the part with the seal hanging over the edge of the headboard. And in this cartoon, there's a couple, and one apparently hears a seal barking and the other one doesn't. So the one says, "Fine, have it your way. You heard a seal bark." The reason why this is relevant for our communication section is because you have to think about who has the control to change in a relationship. So a person with memory loss is at a disadvantage in that they can't, because of the nature of their illness, they're unable to change or to remember. And if they are having hallucinations like this, it's very real to them. And so rather than trying to bring them into your reality, and we're going to get into this in a little bit more in a minute, you have to enter their reality. And I know that is one of the hardest things that we ask caregivers to do. So I'm going to ask you to assess your communication style. Some things to consider when you're communicating with someone with memory loss is to kind of take inventory of how you're presenting yourself. People with memory problems are very sensitive to nonverbal signals, such as facial expressions or body tension or mood. So pay attention to how you're presenting. Are you frowning? Are you scowling? Are you tense? Are you standing with your fists balled up or your arms crossed tightly in front of your chest? All of those will send signals to the person for whom you're caring, and could result in a negative kind of emotion on their end. Consider your approach. People with memory problems tend to mirror or mimic the affect of those around them. So if you're impatient, your relative will pick up on these feelings and tend to feel anxious or alarmed. If you're relaxed and gentle, they're more likely to feel calm as well. So check in with yourself. Take a few deep breaths. Take a signal breath to calm down before you approach your loved one, if you need to, if you're feeling tense. A few other things to note is that somebody with memory loss can be startled easily. So rather than approach somebody from behind, try to approach them from the front so that they see you coming. And if they're sitting, you want to get down to their level and sit making eye contact with them. It can feel threatening if you're standing and they're sitting. So you want to get down to their level, look them in the eye, and maybe try some gentle touch. Hold their hand while you're conveying information or relaying information, or gently, kind of tap them on the shoulder or the forearm. This will just help the whole interaction between the two of you, and it'll take it from tense to relaxed. Pay attention to the environment. What's going on? People with memory problems have a harder time blocking out distractions. So you want to minimize competing sources of information that can be overwhelming or disoriented to them. So if the TV's on, like let's say the news is blasting on the TV in the background and you're trying to talk to your loved one, there's going to be like competing stimuli, and they're not going to really know where to focus their attention. So the ideal environment to communicate something important to your loved one is in a quiet place, free of distractions. Also, pay attention to your timing. You may have noticed that your loved one's comprehension can fluctuate throughout the day. So if you have important communication, choose a time of day that they tend to be at their best. For many, this is mornings, but not for everyone. So you know your loved one best, and find the time when they're at their best before you're communicating important information. Okay, so also you want to remember that if during the day there was a lot going on, there were visitors over, or there was an outing, that might make the person for whom you're caring more tired. So it's probably best to not talk about important information after a stimulating day for them. Consider how much information you're providing. People with memory problems may not remember more than a few words or sentences at a time. So you might need to experiment with how fast or slow you need to speak for them to understand you, and break down complex thoughts or commands into more manageable chunks of information. So rather than saying, on your way in from your walk, can you pick up some bread and milk, and then stop at the drugstore and pick up our prescription, and then grab the mail out of the mailbox on your way in? That's too much information. So you really have to either write it down or give one command at a time. Also think about the kind of information you're providing. People with memory loss may have trouble following figures of speech or idioms, so try to be as literal as possible. And also hypothetical situations can be difficult, so avoid things like, if we were to go to the park today, and just be more straightforward in your language. And then finally, avoid giving too many choices. So rather than saying, what do you want for dinner tonight? Leaving it open-ended and potentially confusing, you might want to narrow it down and say, would you like fish tonight or chicken? Okay, and you may have noticed that already, but just another tip on breaking down communication into smaller chunks or options. And now a few things to avoid. So try not to argue with your relative. You'll never win. If you're tempted to argue, ask yourself, to what end? If it's hard for you to agree with a story that your loved one is confabulating or misremembering, try to validate their feelings behind the statement. They're probably trying to relay something to you about how they're feeling. So just validate, I can tell you're really sad, or I can tell you're really scared, and try to provide some comfort or reassurance. Avoid explaining and rationalizing. The person that you're caring for is living in a different reality, really, than you or I, and the rules of logic and reason do not apply to them. And I have an example of a woman who took this class with me a few years ago. They, out their window, they could see like there was a building with a round top, like a domed top. And her husband really believed that every day, at a certain time of day, the dome would spin around on top of the building. And he would say to her, "Come and look at the dome." And she would, yell, and it upset her, I think, because he was seeing something that was not real, and that can be scary for some people. And so her reaction was to say, it is not spinning. It's just not. And so stop, saying that. And he would, either try to convince her or just kind of give up and feel a little bit invalidated. And so she brought this example up at the class, and I asked her, what would be the worst thing that would happen if you just acknowledged the dome spinning? And she was flabbergasted and said, "I cannot do that." And I said, and the class challenged her and pushed back and said, "Why not? Why not? What's the worst thing that could happen?" We convinced her to give it a try. So when she came back the next week, she said, "So he called me over to show me the dome." I took a deep breath, and she couldn't quite get there. So she said to him, "Hun, I don't see the dome spinning, but I believe you that you see the dome spinning." And that was a step in the right direction. He gave her a hug, and he told her how much it meant to him that she believed him. And so we were working with her to get her to, to go the next level and actually enjoy the spinning of the dome with him, or pretending to, but I don't think she ever got quite there. But if this has happened to you, you might want to journal about it and try to find ways to enter your loved one's reality rather than trying to get them to enter yours. Okay, so another what not to do is don't draw attention to repeat questions. Don't say things like, "You just asked me that," or "You told me that story 5 times already." Just respond as if it's the first time you're hearing it. And I know that that's not easy. And I know it takes a lot of patience. But one thing that we're trying to do in this class is to help you be more patient people. And so if it takes answering the same question as though it's the first time, that's a good place to start. Avoid telling your relative too far in advance about appointments or business or other plans. It may make them anxious. There is like people with memory problems can be disoriented to time. And so time is not as meaningful to them. So if you tell them, in 2 weeks, we're going to such and such, that can create anxiety. And they might ask you like every day, multiple times, "When are we doing that? When are we doing that?" So it's best to reduce their anxiety by just telling them the day before or even the morning of. And then finally, avoid reminding the person with dementia what they can't do. So instead of saying, "You can't go for a walk alone," change your script to, "It's a beautiful day. I would love to join you for a walk." Or instead of a walk, "Would you sit down and read a book with me?" So turn it into something positive. I'd like you to have your journals handy. So go ahead and pause this if you don't have your journal, and grab your journal if you have it. We're going to go over 2 short practice examples. And I'd like you to kind of rewrite the script or jot down what could be improved in both of these examples. So the first example is, it's 9 p.m. and Amy wants to put her husband Joel to bed. Joel's watching news in the living room on the highest volume possible. From the top of the stairs, Amy yells, "Time for bed." Joel doesn't move, and Amy yells again, "Come on, Joel, I said it's time to get ready for bed." Joel continues to stay put. Amy walks into the living room yelling, "Why do you insist on making everything so difficult?" She turns off the TV, throws down the remote, and goes storming up to the stairs. So I just want you to reflect on this. Notice how Amy might feel in this situation. How might Joel feel in this situation? And how might Amy change her approach to bedtime in the future? So just pause this tape and jot down the answers to those prompts. After you're finished correcting Amy, I want you to turn your attention to Rick. He arrives at his parents' house to take his dad out to brunch. When he gets inside, John is still in his pajamas and he's sitting at the table eating breakfast. Dad, Rick says, what are you doing? I told you 100 times we're going out today. I even put it on the calendar. John looks up and says, no, you never told me anything. I would have remembered. Rick grabs the calendar and points to the entry, saying, see, it's right here. Well, it wasn't there earlier, John replies. Rick throws up his hands and storms out of the house. So again, pause this recording and write down what John must be feeling, what Rick must be feeling, and how Rick could have approached this communication with his dad differently. Great. Now that you've reflected on Amy and Rick's communication, I want you to evaluate your own communication. So I want you to think of a time that happened recently where there was maybe a moment when you weren't very proud of yourself in your communication style. So use your journal entry or the binder form to write in the spaces below what it was that you said, what you were feeling before the exchange, what was your mood, how were you feeling, what do you think you looked like during that exchange, what was your body language saying, what was your facial expression saying, what else was happening when you were talking, either in the room or in the environment, wherever you were. How did the person for whom you're caring respond to you? How do you think they felt? How did you feel after this exchange? And what would you change about your language or your communication next time? What would you change about your delivery next time? And then just consider any other things that you want and jot them down in your journal or on this page as you reflect on a recent communication that you think you might wish to improve. Okay, now that you've rewritten this. Okay, so now that you have an idea of your communication style, using a specific example from the past, I want you to keep your journal handy this week and pay attention to the communication that between you and your loved one, and journal about times that you applied the effective communication strategies and times where you failed maybe to employ those strategies, and just kind of start to evaluate through your journal. I don't have a worksheet for this, but I want you just to journal and write about your communication and share some concrete examples, or write down some concrete examples about both negative exchanges and positive exchanges and how each made you feel. So this is a short week. If we were together in session, we would do a lot of sharing. We would have spent about an hour sharing our 6-column thought records with one another, and we would have people talk about different communication techniques, and there would be lots of questions. And since this is a recorded lecture and it's less interactive, this is a short recording. We're actually finished with content, and I'm going to move on to a new relaxation technique. You've already learned the 20 breaths and the signal breath. I want you to keep doing those, but this is one called the body scan, and this one tends to take about 20 minutes or so. And I'm going to walk you through a body scan myself on this recording, but I've also provided a link in the slides as well as in the printed material for a 20-minute body scan by a very popular well-known mindfulness practitioner and guide named Tara Brach. So there's a link to this particular link is to a 20-minute body scan, but tarabrach.com, her website, has all kinds of free meditation exercises for you to explore. But for the purposes of this exercise or this class, I would like you to find a quiet, warm place. You can either lie down on the floor or your sofa. Maybe have a blanket over you, because when you're lying down, your body temperature tends to decrease. So just kind of, you're going to be sitting still for about 20 minutes. So make sure you're comfortable and you're warm. You don't have to lie down. You can also sit in a chair. Just make sure you're comfortable and that your body feels supported. The point of this exercise is not, the point is to relax, but it's not for you to fall asleep. Again, we're talking about awareness. And so I'm going to walk you through different body parts and asking you to notice what's going on in your body. And you may become tired and you may start to sleep, but that is not actually the goal of this. So if you fall asleep, that's okay too. So once you're comfortable, you can pause this until you're comfortable and warm and in a good position to sit for 20 minutes. And then when you're ready, just come back and close your eyes gently. Just gently close your eyes and notice yourself in your body, in your room, breathing. And just don't try to change anything about your breath. This is not like the signal breath. You're just breathing normally and feeling the gentle rise and fall of your body as you inhale and exhale. Take a few minutes to feel your body as a whole. When I say as a whole, I mean from your head to your toes. Kind of feel the envelope of your skin over your body and the sensations associated with touching the places you're in contact with on the floor, on the sofa, in your chair, on your bed. So just get a sense of your body, your skin, and what it's making contact with right now. Notice any sensations. Adjust your body. If you notice you're uncomfortable, just kind of move gently until you are comfortable. And now I'd like you to bring your attention to the toes on your left foot. As you direct your attention to your toes, see if you can direct or channel your breathing into them as well, so that it feels as if you are breathing into your toes and out from your toes. It may take a minute or two for you to get the hang of this. It may help to just imagine your breath traveling down your body from your nose into your lungs and then continuing through your abdomen and down the left leg all the way to the toes and then back again through your nose. And now do the same with the toes on your right foot, sending your breath down through your body, directly into your toes, and then breathing that breath out from your toes, up through your body and out your nose. Allow yourself to feel any and all of the sensations from your toes on both feet, perhaps distinguishing between them and watching the flux of sensations in this region. If you don't feel anything at the moment, that's fine too. Just allow yourself to feel not feeling anything. When you're ready to leave your toes, begin to imagine your breath moving from your toes up through your feet. So up the tops of your feet, around your ankles, your heels, and on the bottoms of your feet, your soles, your arches. And just breathe all of your energy into your feet, both feet, from the ankles to the toes. Noticing sensation or not. And then start to move your breath up from your feet to your ankle and up the fronts of your shins. Focus all of your energy and attention on the part of your leg that goes from your ankles to your knees in the front. So just the front of the shin, and then around the sides of your calves. And then breathe your energy into the backs of your calves. Again, noticing sensation or not. And then breathe all the way from right below your knees, your calves, front and back down into the feet, through your toes, and then back from your toes up through your knees and calves again. And on your next inhale, bring your awareness to your knees, the fronts of your knees, and the area that is behind your knees, the backs of your knees. Notice what it feels like in your knees at this moment. Are your knees bent? Are they straight? Are the backs of your knees making contact with the chair or not? If you begin to wander off, just bring your attention back to your knees. And on your next exhale, breathe the air out of your body from your knees out through your toes. And take another inhale through your toes, up your calves, past your knees, and explore the fronts of your thighs with your breath. With each inhale and exhale, explore your thighs on the top, the sides, and the back. Take a few more breaths into your thighs. And then begin to take a breath and notice your buttocks, your pelvic region, your abdomen, and your lower back. Breathe in and out, paying attention to the sensations in your body from your abdomen and your back, all the way down, and then all the way back up again. Bring your awareness back to your abdomen and move your breath up. Here you may feel, as you inhale and exhale, the expansion and contraction of your stomach. You may notice the air passing through your ribs, or the sensation of air passing through your ribs. Explore your breath as it moves into your chest and your throat. And then shift your awareness around to your upper back. Take a few deep breaths, noticing the air filling you up in your posterior chain and your upper back body, back through down your spine. Just feel your body as it expands and contracts as you inhale and exhale. And bring your attention and your awareness up through your throat, the front of your neck and the back of your neck. Bring your awareness to your shoulders, the tops of your shoulders, and then down your arms, your right arm and your left arm. Explore the sensation as your breath moves from the top of your arm down to your elbows, and then down to your wrists. And then breathe your awareness into your hands. Just like we started with your toes, I want you to imagine your breath entering through your fingertips and then back out through your fingertips. Notice any sensation in your fingers and between your fingers or in your hands. Now bring your attention and your awareness up from your hands, back up through your arms and your shoulders and your neck, and bring your awareness up to your head. Notice the back of your head, the top of your head. Is your head making contact with anything? Are there any sensations in the back of your head? And now bring your awareness up to the top of your head and then your forehead. Notice your brow, your eyebrows. If you're holding any tension in your brows, smooth them out. Just let it go. Bring your awareness to your eye sockets. Relax your eyes. Your nose. Sometimes you can feel the air coming in and out of your nose. You may notice sensation there. Bring your awareness to your ears. Imagine exploring your inner ears, the outsides of your ears, your mouth. Notice any sensations in your lips. Bring your awareness to the inside of your mouth, your tongue. How tense is your jaw right now? On your next inhale, breathe deep into your jaw, and when you exhale, try to relax your jaw and your whole face as though there were no muscles in your face, and it's pure relaxation. On your next inhale, I want you to breathe again into your whole body from the top of your head through your face and your neck and all the way through your different body parts and down to your toes. And take a few breaths just feeling your whole entire body in this moment. On your next inhale, imagine a light shining inside of you with your breath. You're breathing in light and it's just beaming out of you. You're radiating light during this mindfulness exercise. And spend as much time as you'd like here. This is the conclusion of our body scan. You can spend as much time as you'd like. And then when you're ready, slowly wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes and open your eyes and come back to the room. I hope you found that relaxing. Tara Brock does a much better job than me, so feel free to explore her website when you're practicing body scans or other meditations as well. Hopefully this is not too abrupt a transition. I hope you had a chance to kind of come back to the room after your meditation. I want to thank you for your attention today. And it looks like our homework list is getting longer. So again, I want you to complete a mood tracker for every day this week. Practice your signal breath, rating your stress level pre and post the 5 deep breaths. I want you to practice a 20 breaths exercise at least once a day, but as many times as you'd like. I want you to try 4 different 6-column thought records this week. If that's too many, just do 2. But I want you to do a couple more thought records so that you can get into the practice of identifying your unhelpful thoughts and then replacing them with more helpful thoughts. I want you to journal about your communication style. We already evaluated your communication style in this session, but for homework, I really want you to focus on documenting some communications that you've had with the person for whom you're caring, both positive and ones that you want to improve. And then finally, you can either listen to this recording again of the body scan I just did with you, or you can go to the Tara Brach website and practice at least one 20-minute body scan this week. If you have any questions about this course or anything, any of the homework or anything else, you can email me at felicia.greenfield@pennmedicine.upenn.edu, and I look forward to seeing you in office hours. Have a good week. Next time.